fences of the Department of Corrections,
Dun, dun, dun.
where they had yesterday a familiar story, though, Major. Good morning, Major. Are you muted?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear us? Unmute. Right on. Good morning, Major.
Morning.
I know you weren't so happy to see my message yesterday because we had the mugshot that came out of one of, well, a couple of DLC's finest. Then I shot you the text. Hey, can you come on? You know, I try and play innocent, right? I'm like, hey, Major, what are you doing tomorrow? You got any time to just come on the show, man? It's been a while. Play some catch up. So we're playing catch up on a Magatsa story. Can you just give us the info of this incident involving a couple of CEOs at the prison?
Yes, so the department's special operations response team Friday night, early Saturday morning, had an operation where they were going through everybody's personal bags and belongings as they reported for duty, including the pat downs. And in one of the bags was a bottle of lotion, probably maybe 16, 24-ounce bottle.
Can you show us, Major, like how big with your hands? How big was this bottle of lotion?
Oh, the lotion was a little bit bigger than a paper plate, because the bottle was placed on a paper plate, and it overlapped the paper plate, so it was a pretty big bottle. Again, probably a 24-ounce bottle.
Wow.
What is he like supplying an entire post? Or?
Is it pretty ashy? How ashy are the inmates up there, man?
No, I mean, I don't know. It was in his bag, and the officer opened it up, and he noticed something inside the lotion, and so they cut it open. They cut open the bottle, and inside was the contraband wrapped in medical tape. Was wrapped in medical tape, white medical tape.
Wow.
So it blended in with the lotion. You couldn't really see it that well, and then they found the other stuff inside the lotion, the syringes and the other items.
Damn.
That was outlined in the magistrate complaint.
Right. I know it's outlined in there, but Major, what can you tell us? How much? So it was a couple syringes.
Yeah. And then there was some, it was a baggie, right? A baggie. Can't remember if it was a meth or if it was the marijuana.
I think it was both.
The marijuana was like in a
Straw, right?
Straws, couple inch straws that were sealed off at both ends. So it was stuffed inside there.
It sounds like
I
a
don't
tweak.
know the weight. I don't know the weight and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
GPD took everything with them, so I don't know how much how much weight the product was.
How about the crystal meth, the ice? Was it a lot?
It looked like a pretty good deal. I mean, again, I don't have the weight available. I don't have any of the reports from the Guam police as far as the weight of the product, but it looked like a pretty lot. I mean,
Like a sandwich bag or
Like how,
is it gallons?
if they
You know,
smoked it all, Major, how long would they be up for?
maybe
5
for,
years?
Those three small 3-inch bags or small baggie. It was a small baggie.
Okay.
Again, I'm not familiar with that type of product thing, so I couldn't really properly describe it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a small bag. It was a small bag of what looked like crystal substance inside.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
What about the cell phone? Was it like a smartphone?
Is that iPhone?
You know, again, the only report I saw so far is from what was in the magistrate.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen the other reports yet. They're still making their rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't seen GPD's report. So
Mm-hmm.
we're expected to get that later, probably in the week, get that from GPD to be used with our internal affairs investigation as we move forward.
Right. Yeah. So Major, so there was the one corrections officer who just started on the job. I'm trying to find this picture here.
There was a
Yeah.
Gumatauto.
Right.
Right. Mike Alex Munya Gumatauto. He's only been on the job for what, a few months?
Yeah, he got hired in December of 2019.
Right. And then so was there, we had also read there was another CO who brought in tobacco. Was this at the same time as this Gumatauto kid? And then why wasn't that CO named?
Yes, there was during the bag inspection, there was another officer that reported in, and they went through his bags and found a couple cans of Copenhagen inside his bag.
Do you think there's any?
He was arrested by GPD also, but GPD booked. He was booked and released.
Oh, nice. What was his name? Did we get his name?
I'm not. I would love to give the name out, but I'm not at liberty as per the DOA rules just to come out and say their names. But on the Gumatauta guy, again, we didn't release the name. It was the court in the court documents that released it. But unfortunately, I can't. It's a personnel issue, and I cannot just release his name.
Really?
Not on myself, I can't.
Why don't you write it on a piece of paper and show it to us? I mean, I'm just thinking if we name this, I mean, okay, so we got to check what, GPD?
I just got to ask.
I didn't even, I mean, again, he did.
I mean,
He never entered DOC. The second officer never entered DOC's custody. GPD arrested him, took him down to the central precinct, booked and released him from there.
What about the Gumatauta? So
the Gumatauta was booked at central precinct and then brought down to the Ganya detention facility where he was confined.
And what was the timeline between the capturing of these two COs? Was it like one right after the other? I mean, do you think they were connected?
Yeah, they were not that far apart. I mean, the shift starts at midnight, so they were reporting in for duty, between 11:30 and midnight that night.
Right.
We have about 20 to 25 officers reporting for duty. So all of them were inspected, and those were the two that they found with something.
Are we concerned, though, that if, for example, the Gumatauta or the other protected and unnamed individual, that they might have brought in other things on previous occasions?
I mean, yes. I mean, that's always a possibility. History has shown us that usually when we catch them, it's not their first time.
Right.
They just got caught for it this time. So,
can you confirm if the second officer who was not arrested, is he the brother of a Guam Police Department officer?
He has a family member in the Guam Police. Yes.
So what do you think? It was like connects kind of thing, or?
No, I don't think the brother was involved.
No, but you know how it is with GPD.
Sometimes
It's
the
like,
other
oh,
family
hey,
members
guy,
just
my
move
brother's a
on.
cop. Oh, okay, shoot. Yeah, book and release.
Yeah, can you explain why the 5-year officer that's not being named by DOC, why he was a BNR and not a BNC? Was it just because it was tobacco products?
The decision to BNR is not DOC's decision. It was the police department decision. But yes, more likely because it was tobacco products and not any controlled substance, just tobacco products, which is a contraband in the prison, but not a contraband out in the public.
I see. But the fact that he was a DOC officer bringing in contraband,
Yeah, I want.
you would think that just is serious enough. And then
Right.
on top of the fact that, let's face it, you've been on this show and you have
Right.
said in the past that there has been contraband that has been coming into the Department of Corrections, and you guys don't even allow visitors. You don't allow packages for people to drop off. And so, I mean, one can only assume that contraband is getting in
Yeah.
from DOC employees. And I hate saying that, but I mean,
it is what it is, Bree. And we also see that another media has named that
It's
second
true.
officer,
I mean,
right? Major, I don't know if you saw that, but Christopher Santos is being named as the second officer.
is he an officer at the Department of Corrections?
Chris Santos.
Yeah, that's the name the Guam Daily Post was able to obtain, and I cannot speak to it due to personnel issues, but believe me, I mean, I want to put these officers' names out there, straight out there in the media. I mean, it's not right what they did. It's not right at all. I mean, they put all our officers' lives in jeopardy when they do those things.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we should publish their whole names right off the bat. I mean, put their picture there so everybody will know. But unfortunately, I have to follow the rules as far as personnel issues, or I myself could be in trouble. As far as the book and release, we don't make that decision.
Yeah.
We have no decision on who gets released and how that is handled. But, when they do things like that, to me, I believe they should do jail time. I mean, that's it. They know what they're supposed to be doing, but as we can see with previous cases that's happened, probation is the only thing they get. So, I'm frustrated. Yes, we're all frustrated. This is not, we hire them to do a job. They have an oath. They take an oath to do their job. And then they put all our lives in jeopardy when they do these stupid stuff. And so it's frustrating. It's frustrating for our other officers. It's frustrating for management. And we train them, we tell them, we got rules and regulations, we stress it over and over. They see what we're doing. They've seen the indictment of other officers like Limo and that happened. And we train them in the academy and we tell them what to, and it's just, I don't know. I mean, they just continuously make stupid ass decisions.
Right. And then it casts a doubt
frustrating.
on all the officers who are good. Are there any good officers, Major? Or are they all corrupt? Are they all
I have
corrupt?
over 200. We have over 200 officers here, and majority of them, they all do good work. They do what they're supposed to do. We have a few that do not, and believe me, when we find out, we will take action. Again, we follow the rules as far as personnel rules, but it is not something we take lightly. And we just got to continue to fight the battle. More training, more education.
Sounds like you're pretty frustrated, Major, and it's kind of, I'm alarmed because it sounds like you know who the dirty officers are. It's like you guys all know. I mean, how could you not know? And then you get these instances where, like you said, Limo, we just went through a whole thing where officers were smuggling in meth. They were working with the inmates. They were smuggling it in pizza boxes. What's changed? Well, now they're using lotion bottles. And I just don't get why we're not naming one officer because he's the brother of a cop or connected to whoever. And then it's like, we're not going to charge a guy with like official misconduct or anything like, you know what I mean? And what kind of message does that send to the other officers? Major, that sends it to the other officers that there's certain corrections officers who can't be touched, who are untouchable, who can bring in whatever and my book and release.
No, Chris, nobody, no officer in here is untouchable. Okay. Again, even the former head of internal affairs went down for that. Nobody's untouchable. If they're caught doing something wrong, we will take action. Do we have other officers? Yes, we probably do. But we have to find the right evidence in order to take the proper action against them. And we continue to do that. That's why we do the baggage inspections, and we have the inmates that, of course, are doing this along with their family members on the outside. We have some family members that are enabling their loved ones in here to continue to break the law. They're helping them. They pack the stuff. They buy the stuff. They continue to help them smuggle the contraband into the prison. It's just something we have to deal with day in and day out.
Yeah, but this one officer, he'd only been on the job for 8 months. That's not a long time, and it's pretty serious. I mean, when you're talking about meth, marijuana,
syringes,
cell phone. I mean, what kind of background checks and things like that are being done to ensure that the people that are being hired over at the Department of Corrections aren't connected to like drug dealers or whatever?
It seems like they are. I mean, that's what it's looking like.
Yeah, it's really disheartening that someone as young as him, starting his new career, gets pulled down into these kind of games and stuff, and now he's finding himself behind the bars, and it's gonna affect his job possibly.
Possibly, right?
Yeah, you're right. He's only 20
I mean, I
He's in
think
his 20s.
it kind of looks like they got the new guy and they leaned on him a little bit, and he had to bring the stuff in for someone else. I mean, I don't know. That looks like I've seen a lot of prison movies.
This ain't the movies. This
I know
is
this
the
is real
real
life.
deal.
This is worse than the movies because we're talking Guam and we're talking like a guy can bring in ice and then a dude can come in right behind him with tobacco, and it looks like they're connected, but you know, it's a tale of two COs. One gets to walk, and now we're going to wait and see if the other will talk.
All right, Antone. I hope this doesn't ruin your day or anything.
Yeah,
Get you down.
sorry, mate. You know, it's good, though. It's good that you show these people out here that you give a damn. You know what I mean? That's good.
It ruined my day when we got the phone call. I mean, it ruined my night when we got the phone call that was what was happening. But again, we just have to move on. I mean, again, I have a lot of good officers here that do what they're supposed to do, and a few may not. Or I hope this sends a message to all the officers again to do what is expected of you and
Do the good things that are expected of you.
These inmates will try to take advantage of your weakness and give you some sad story of why they need your help or what their reasons are. And if you don't stay true to yourself and to what your mission is, then you're going to fall victim. And we've seen it over and over, even with, experienced 27-year officers, going down because of getting involved with these inmates.
Okay, I think we've covered this. And
Yeah.
Frustrating.
yeah. So can you give us can we move on to something else now?
Yeah,
Can you give us an update on the testing? The last time we did an interview with you, we were talking about how we were looking to do the remaining testing of inmates and detainees and employees over at DLC. Has that been scheduled yet, or?
When we first tested the inmates, to start testing, we started out in Manila, and we tested 147 in Manila, and then on September 8th, they tested 130 the detainees in Agana. We've also tested all our officers. We have about 318 inmates remaining. And so we are working with public health to complete that testing, or at least hopefully complete it. Well, we may have to go one more round or two more rounds of this. But we're looking to hopefully do it before the end of this week to try to tackle the remaining Manila inmates.
Anybody else test positive over there?
So hopefully we'll have that done.
Any of not test positive, but any?
No, not since we've had a few, maybe one or two officers, but most of them were already away from the facility before they tested positive.
Right.
They've already recovered. All our staff those that did test positive recovered and are back to work. No inmate as of now has shown any symptoms of COVID, and so we continue to press on.
Okay.
Hopefully by the end of the week, again, we test another round.
So just no COVID, but contraband coming in.
Yes, no COVID, but we found contraband.
All right. Anything else, Anton, happening at DOC?
Well, we just completed we went through the last 2 weeks. Our DOC was undergoing a Prison Rape Elimination Act audit. So we had some auditors from off island here evaluating DOC's policies in response to prison rape. The auditors left this morning. We're expecting a report in a few weeks of their findings and recommendations, and how we can address any of the shortcomings that we may have.
What prompted the visit?
In regards to prison rape.
Rape?
Yeah.
Rape?
Prison
Elimination
rape.
Act.
Yeah. So what prompted the visit from these auditors? What prompted the visit from these auditors?
So the prison rape elimination. No, the Rape Elimination Act, sir, has always been, it's a law since 2003. And it's a federal law that addresses rape, rape in prison, sexual harassment amongst inmates and staff. It's a whole list of things. And Guam has committed to being PREA compliant. I can recall back ever since the Camacho administration. And we've had a mock audit, I believe, in 2017 or 2018. And they came out, the real audit, came out here this past week. And they go over everything from staffing to policies to how we handle complaints. And this is all on the federal level. And these are all federal standards that we need to meet. Right. Most prisons, of course, through the country don't come out 100% compliance through the first audit. But again, we're gonna work towards addressing all of those issues. There's usually like 45 different standards that we have to meet.
Wow.
Yeah.
When was the last audit finding, and did you meet those 45 standards?
No, we did not.
How many of the 45 standards did you not meet?
I believe on the last audit, it was a mock audit that we did, and out of the 45, I believe, standards, we probably met about 30. I mean, a lot of it too has to do with staffing,
structural issues, I'm sure.
Camera system, just for personal safety for the inmates and the staff, things like that. So,
do these standards need to be met for any sort of federal funding?
not at this point. No, we're still in the working phase of that. So, we're not going to be sanctioned anything at this time if we don't meet all the standards. But it's a work in progress, and our goal is to eventually be compliant with all those standards. It's going to take some work on both DOC and the government in general's because it's going to take some funding and other issues to move us in the right direction.
And just before we let you go, Anton, if you could just provide just an update on the contract, I believe, for the master plan.
Oh, okay. So the master plan contract was signed by the governor. Okay, the governor had already signed it, and so we have given it to the vendor now, and so he's gonna work on his schedule to come to Guam and start working on it. We're probably right now looking around October, maybe the middle part of October. Again, it depends on the COVID, the restrictions that are in place and what's going on right now, because when he comes to Guam, I mean, he could be quarantined for 14 of those days, and that won't really help him in his project.
Right.
To be locked up 14 days when he should be working. But we're going to work with him on his schedule, and hopefully soon he can head out here and start working on the project.
All right, Major, I wanted to end on a good note here because I feel like you kind of got beat up in this interview. Tony Vanessa Padua comments, God bless you, Major Anton. There are still many DOC officers who work hard and try their best every day when they report to work, risking their lives not to be trapped in.
Well, thank you, whoever made that comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you for what you're doing over there, and all of the DOC officers, Anton.
Thank you, Major.
I appreciate you.
You could
Am I
say
excused?
Stay safe.
text me on the side if you want to tell me anything.
Okay.
Okay, Major. Esta. Okay. Obviously very frustrated. That's good, though. Don't you want him to be frustrated? Of course. You don't want him to be like, oh, big deal. It's more meth. God, it's CO smuggling in meth. Come on, it's a prison. Yeah, you want that fire, that passion, I mean, dude, he was pissed.
Yeah. And I've seen him at oversight hearings.
Right.
But I never seen him like that.
I never seen him say stupid